So today is September 30th, and as you can see just from the last storm, a lot of this trench is already filled up quite a bit. This is just a little tiny swale that we did to try and protect the front of our property again. And as you can see, there's no control that's been brought in at all from Beechwood up to this point, even though we asked all week last week before the potential hurricane. They still ignored it. This is probably within just a few inches of being able to come right out of the banks again. So we're really worried that if there's another storm coming through, all of this is going to overflow again and come right back out. This is really shallow right here, but we're thinking we don't even want to touch this at all. So we have some sandbags kind of at the ready, but we don't know if they're going to be enough to stop it. This actually eroded quite a bit more just since the last storm, so it continues to flow pretty heavily through here. And again, it's just all of this comes from this area, which is lower, and this area, with it not being able to grade properly, down to the other culvert that's on the other side. So again, we've been asking since July for anybody to just come out and take a look at it, with promises that they would have somebody come out and shoot it and look at it and figure out where the issues are and how to address it. This property is all owned by Beechwood and ultimately the HOA. The storm drain is not really doing anything, and they put the riprap in. This is where the main flow goes all through here, and it's not been properly cleaned and channeled so that it can properly flow through here. We've made suggestions on what we think might work, but it's really up to their engineer or a different engineer to come out and take a look at it and make sure things are flowing the way they should. So we're just doing the best we can to survive the next possible storm, which unfortunately, if it's even a little bit bigger than the one we had, we certainly won't without a lot of damage done to our property. This again is the trench that it goes through. That used to just be just a small amount of water that went through here. As you can see, just since the last storm, all the sand and sediment that's already piled up back in here. So it's going to quickly overflow these culverts going out to the back part of our property. Lots of sand and sediment all through here. When it has overflowed, has completely jumped the banks and just can't handle it. Just every storm brings a little bit more, and it just fills it up more and erodes our banks that much more, to the point where we can't protect ourselves anymore. So far the bocce ball court has held up pretty well, but it has eroded the sides quite a bit, and it's brought in lots more sand and silt throughout this whole area. We've got a French drain now here to hopefully catch some of it, but it's not meant for huge rainstorms to be able to protect it. This has eroded the banks that we've tried to trench and brought a bunch of the erosion back down into the ditch, which just keeps filling it up. But unfortunately, we're going to be just wasting a lot of money to be able to bring in rock and stuff if all of it's just going to get backed up with all the sediment coming from the other side. That's a lot of pressure from that water. It's just going to keep eroding it. It's already come up here quite a bit and taken a lot of the work that we've done to try and build this up. This is much more exposed than it was last week. Lots of sand and sediment still flowing through here. This is the old fabric that we had in our ditch to try and slow it down. It just ripped it apart. This is getting pretty close to flowing over as well, and it's filled back in. This was all dug down a lot deeper and a lot wider, and it's just made a big mess of it. But this is all sand and sediment that's flowed down. And as you can see, none of this is the same color as the side, so this is all coming from the field. Now this really built up. So this where it's starting to dam, because you've got tree roots and stuff that had to be cut away in order to get the water to flow. But this is probably a few inches taller than it was just a week ago, just from that one last storm, and we really didn't get hit all that hard by it. Same back in here. That's a lot of sediment flowing back in here. A lot higher than it was. And this is not, you can't compact it at all. There's no, you can't ball it, so this is not normal stuff. I don't know how this works for foundations, but it's not, to me it doesn't seem like you could compact it very well, not with the clay. It just keeps carrying it all the way down. Really filled this up a lot this week. And this is just, it's damming up back here. It needs to have a proper channel to go out and back, but we don't want to do any more trenching because this ultimately leads to a large waterway that's behind us that I believe leads out to the Bromley subdivision and Luna. So as this just keeps piling up, we can't control it. Again, there is no sediment fence in the field controlling any of this, but it continues to accumulate and pile up back here.